All right, welcome back. And it's time for us to get into some interesting conversations and various communities. We're going over to the Savannah region, and a rainstorm has ripped off the roof of a hospital that serves, large communities around, not just the community where the hospital is set, but other communities around that community as well. And we have a report by our colleague Richard Fogel. Let's take a look at what happened there, and we'll come back and we'll get into some conversations.
The rainstorm on Saturday evening in Kalba in the Solatuna Kaba district of the Savannah region ripped off the roofs of a number of buildings, including the health center. The health center, which is the only major health facility that serves about 40,000 people in 65 communities in the area, has thus been closed down. The facility lost documents, drugs, and mattresses, among others, as the storm ripped off the roof, forcing authorities to discharge patients who were on admission. When City News visited the facility, patients who had traveled from other communities for treatment were stranded. George Sobite is the chief physician assistant of the center. He warns of a health crisis in the area if the facility is not reopened soon, as the ambulance in the facility has broken down and the nearer health center is over 30 kilometers away on a very bad road.
At this particular moment, looking at the situation, our services is heavily affected because at the moment the whole building is off, the OPD side, the general side, and it didn't also end there. It has lifted the roofing sheet to the maternity block, which is also in danger. At the moment, the center part of it, where the delivery room is, the labor room, is also affected. No delivery can be conducted. So this is serious. It has affected our work here, and we are all traumatized.
Mr. Sobite also spoke about the effect the closure of the facility will have on the district.
The services we also provide here has covered over 40,000 population, and we serve over 65 communities. It is a referral center where the CHIP compounds and other private facilities, we have a private facility in town here. They also refer cases here to us. So where we are now, we are in a desperate situation.
The Damongo Catholic Diocese Health Director, who manages the facility, Aiden Minbon, said the diocese is overwhelmed with the level of damage and appealed to philanthropists, NGOs, and the government of Ghana, as well as the National Health Insurance Authority, for support to reopen the facility.
Let me say that it is a twin disaster. If you recall, on the 18th of January, we also suffered fire disaster in this same facility that affected the administration block. We are still in process of mobilizing resources to replace that administration block, when just only yesterday this has also happened. And so the burden on us as a diocese is quite enormous, and if we don't get support from our partners and other groups, it will be difficult to really fix this immediately.
Some 78 houses have been affected by the storm, displacing 105 people.
Right, so that was a report by our Savannah regional correspondent, Richard Fogel. So this is the plight, of the St. Joseph Health Center in Kalba. So, David, what I'm thinking about now is, now the authorities have shut down the facility. And of course, that's what has to happen, because if the roof is off, then we can't keep patients here.
No,
we can't come to work here. Yeah. Now, I wonder, we are going to be talking to our correspondent, but I would want to know how many hospitals do they have? Now how important, because
within the district.
You heard authorities say that they serve about 65 communities You know, so this should tell you the importance of
Of
this
the facility.
particular facility to the people of Kalba and surrounding communities.
Yeah.
So now, what happens? Even when the hospital was in operation, you know, what was the
Was it
situation like?
adequate? Yeah.
Was it that efficient for patients? No. Now that it's been closed down, what is going to happen? If people have to get healthcare service, what will happen?
Yeah.
What will happen to pregnant women? What will happen to children? Were there people on admission? You know, so these are some of the genuine questions
Yeah.
that will arise
Need
from
to find out
this
from.
this situation. You know, and how long will it take? You
before
know,
we get back
before
on
this
the road?
problem is
Yeah.
fixed. You know,
Yeah.
now it's been shut down.
Yeah.
When will it be reopened? When can it come back to serving communities? And I worry, you know, our response to such disasters. You know, not long ago on Monday we're talking about the tidal waves.
Yes.
You know, I mean, all these kind of things. How prepared are we to deal with some of these natural occurrences? Because there should be an emergency plan.
Yeah.
Because we cannot, you won't anticipate these kind of things, you know, but naturally you should know that things like this can happen.
It can happen, yes.
You know,
And
in case
what do
they
we
do, what do you do?
Yeah.
Richard Fogo joins us on the line. Thank you very much. Welcome to Breakfast Daily, Richard.
Thank you. Good morning, Shema.
Hi, Richard.
I'm good. Hello.
Yes, Richard, thank you very much. Now, tell us a bit more about the importance, you know, of the St. Joseph Health Facility to the people of Kalba and surrounding communities.
Yeah, Shema, like you said, it's a very important facility. We are talking of over 40,000 people in over 60 communities dotted across the length and breadth of the Kalba community. And all of these people depend on the St. Joseph Health Center for their health care. There are a number of chief compounds dotted around, about 3 or 4. But as a chief compound policy, this is manned by lesser qualified nurses, community health nurses. They can only give some first aid or detain for a night and then move the person to the next stage of the health ladder, which will be a health center. That is what the St. Joseph Health Center provides. And so they are able to do admissions of patients and attend to cases that chief compounds cannot attend to. There are medicines that chief compounds are not allowed to keep or administer. You will find these medicines at the health center. So as we speak now, the people of Kalba and the other different communities are not able to get these services because the facility is not functioning as it should. I found out that the facility was forced to open the maternity unit because of the importance they place on pregnant women when they need to deliver and so on and so forth. So they are forced to operate that one. So that's the only one they are operating now. The other services, they are not able to operate. Their consumables are gone. Since the 19th of March that this incident happened, the place has not yet been used. And so they are not able to attend to patients. And then the next health center to Kalba is the Tuna Health Center, which is over 20-30 kilometers away. That is to Kalba. But even beyond Kalba, there are communities that are also about 20 kilometers away from Kalba. So imagine somebody is coming from a community 20 kilometers away from Kalba to go all the way to Tuna to get health care on a very bad road, I must say. The road is very, very terrible. There are no ambulance services there. The only ambulance is in Tuna and it's broken down. The health center's ambulance is broken down, so they cannot even get ambulance service. So the people are stuck there. I don't know how many people will be sick in their homes and are not able to get health care, but I can tell you they will be in hundreds, if not thousands.
Right, Richard, you know, watching on TV, the level of devastation is very worrying, you know, to have the roof ripped off. You can see it looks like mattresses, you know, being dried up in the sun. Medicines have been packed in containers, you know. So when you look at this and talking to authorities, what do you pick up, you know, in terms of when the hospital can come back to its full operation?
For now, I spoke to the physician assistant, and he just can't tell. Because at the moment, like I said, the place has not been reroofed. He told me a group of people are on their way there today to make some donations, but he doesn't even know what they are coming with. Are they coming with drugs? Are they coming with roofing cheese or whatever? We don't know. The MP visited the facility with the district health director and said he has some money, some health fund money left in his health fund, and said that they will use that to re-roof. But that was on the 20th of March. The re-roofing has not yet been done. I don't know what is holding that up. So now the place has not been re-roofed. The drugs has not been replaced. They are supposed, they buy the drugs, administer, and get reimbursement from the health insurance. Now these drugs have been destroyed. So they cannot go to health insurance for reimbursement to purchase drugs because they have not administered the drugs. So it's a very difficult situation. They can't tell how soon the facility will be back in full operation, and it doesn't look good.
Now, if there were patients on admission, you know, before this disaster occurred, where are they now?
Yeah, there were patients on admission. That very night, when the disaster occurred, the patients fled. They couldn't find them afterwards because they were in the ward when the incident happened. So when the building was shaking, those who were on cannula, they pulled them off. The nurses who were in the ward, they all ran away. And the patients ran away, and they didn't return. On the 20th, when I was there to do the story that morning, patients had come from far and near, and they were just sitting outside. Nobody attended to them. So on that very night, there were patients on admission. They fled, and they never came back because they knew that even they stayed, nobody would attend to them.
No, this is quite terrible. Because for people who are sick, you know, to leave and not come back, I mean, you can imagine what probably would have happened depending on your ailment, you know, while you were at the hospital. But so tell us, where the roof has been ripped off, which ward is that? Is it administration? Is it, where exactly at the facility? Or is it the whole place?
Not the whole place, but that is the male ward, the female ward, the OPD, the dispensary, the records, all of that is gone.
So more or less the whole facility?
Yes, that's more than about 70% of the facility. So what was left was the administrative block is a different building. So that one is not affected, actually.
Right, but, so please go on.
Yeah, so, but we then have the maternity block, and then the delivery or the labor room. Okay, so the roof is there. But what happened was that the roof lifted and landed on that particular one. So it was also a bit destroyed. But they have refixed that one.
Okay.
So that is why they are able to attend to pregnancy and labor cases. Apart from the pregnancy or the labor room and then the maternity, everything is gone.
Right now, talking to authorities, you know, did you get a sense of, for instance, trying to operate, you know, on very short, kind of just attend to people briefly? We will not admit people. You come, we give you some kind of first aid, or we treat you as best as we can, and then you go back home. Did you get the sense, or probably once the hospital is gone, doctors are not working, nurses are not working, we are just attending to people with maternity issues? Is that what you got? Or they are trying to, you know, get some kind of ad hoc structures, you know, just to work with?
They are trying. They have not, for now, they have started attending to some level of, like as you said, maybe first aid, but they cannot admit because they have no room or bed to put a patient and look over the patient overnight. So they are not able to admit. So if you come and your situation is something that they can just see you and discharge you, they will see you. That is if they have the medicines to take care of you. What I know is that they did purchase few medicines after the incident, but not as much as they usually would do because they don't have the resources to replenish all what they've lost. So they attend to patients at a certain level. Mostly, if you need admission, if you need more care, then they ask you to just go to Tona. So you have to find your way and get to Tona Health Center, and then you'll be attended to. If you are somebody that is within Kalba and can go and sleep, the following day you come back, that is done. But they cannot keep a patient and look over the patient overnight. They are not able to do that.
Right. So in terms of healthcare delivery, how terrible would this be for residents?
Oh, it's terrible, Frema. It's very terrible. Like I said, it's a very large area. And that center is the first center there. I mean, it's older than me when I found out. It's older than by the time it was established, there was nothing like healthcare in that area. So everybody knows that place. And it's a very large area, a very vast area, several kilometers. So they managed to get to Kalba for treatment when they have to. So now that it's not there, I can bet you there are a lot of people that will just not go to a health center or attempt to see a doctor if they fall sick. They will try to manage these cases at home.
Richard.
Because this is a very illiterate population. And even trying to get people to the hospital to deliver is a huge issue. They still have to educate them, don't deliver at home, don't deliver at home. Now that they hear that even the place is down, you can imagine.
Richard, you filed a report sometime on March 20th, and there's a part of the report where you quoted an authority. I wanted to find out who this was. The quote says, "At this moment, we cannot offer any service as the building is not in good shape. The wind has lifted the roofing sheet to the maternity block, making it very unsafe. No delivery can be carried out in the labor room. We are traumatized even as staff. Patients are here, yet we cannot offer our services to them. We call on well-meaning Ghanaians who care about the health sector to come to our aid." He warned of health crisis in the area if the facility is not reopened in time. Then he goes on to say that in terms of logistics, we had to collect all the drugs when the rain began, and now we are not sure how good they are even to serve our patients. We are a referral hospital serving people not only from Ghana but also from Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso. Who are you speaking to?
That was Mr. George Sobite, the physician assistant in charge of the hospital.
Okay.
Yes, that was him. And like you just read, Kalba also shares a border with Burkina Faso and parts of Ivory Coast. So they cross over to the Black Volta, to Kalba for treatment when they do need sleep. So yes, that was the physician assistant.
Wow. Well, I hope we can get him, that gentleman on the line, and speak to him a little later, if possible.
Well, for me, I think that we should talk to people who have answers, to tell us, okay, so this is what we are going to do. Exactly, because we know what the problem is now. Well, thank you very much, Richard. We'll come back to you later for more updates. But, so for me, we all know the problem now. So we don't need more people coming to tell us how grave the situation is, because you can tell if you have a health facility that is taking care of about 40,000 people, serving about over 65 communities, then you know that if this hospital is not in operation, a lot of things will go bad. That we have established, but what happens next? So I mean, this is it. Now, he's painted a clear picture to us. The roof. If you have a hospital that the roof is off, you know that there's a problem when it's not even raining, because you know how the sun is even in this part of the country. So you can tell how it will be like, So even with medication, you can't export certain drugs to
the sunlight and all that. I mean, you see,
in terms of equipment, you can't have some of equipment in the heat. So this is, I mean, practically, literally the situation. You can't have people on admission. So this is it. Now you have, I really want to see this, on TV and being recorded. Now the disaster is here. people who have drips on them, people who are in labor ward, people who are,
Everybody
over the place,
up
getting up to run.
Run away, yeah.
You know, what happens to those who are bedridden, those who can't move?
Yeah.
You know, so these are serious issues that we really need to, moving forward as a country, start thinking about such disasters. Now we are, maybe in times past, this was not too frequent, but now these things are happening. If there's a tidal wave, what do we do? If there's an explosion, what do we do? If, rain causes such havoc, what do we do? Because these things would happen as long as we are on Earth. Some of these problems would occur. Now, because of climate change, see how terrible it is.
Yeah.
When the sunshine, when there are rains, it's so terrible. Floods will be coming. Have we prepared ourselves adequately to deal with all these things? Do we sit down, to get flooded, and then we look at, so what do we do? In the middle of the water, we are now trying to find ways and means to deal with some of these problems. And this is our situation. Now the hospital is gone.
Yeah.
How soon are we going to have it bounce back?
Yeah.
In the meantime, what happens to people in this area who would need health care?
Yeah.
What happens?
So there's a story here again, and this was a couple of days later. MP calls for urgent support for Kalba rainstorm victims. So the MP of the area is speaking. Member of Parliament for the Solar Tuna Kalba constituency, Andrew Dari Chiwite, has made a passionate appeal to the National Disaster Management Organization to extend help to victims of last Saturday's rainstorm in the Kalba community. All right. Of course, when it says last Saturday, it's relative to the time. The rainstorm on Saturday in Kalba in the Savannah region affected 78 houses, displacing over 100 people, according to NADMO. Now, speaking to City News after touring the community on Monday, Mr. Chiwite said NADMO and the government must urgently attend to the victims. Victims of Saturday's rainstorm are still counting their losses. The health center in the community has been shut down following the storm, which ripped off its roofs. All right, so then I quote, Kalba is one of the major towns in Solar Tuna Kalba, so whatever happens to Kalba affects the entire district. The extent of the damage is serious, the MP said. You saw the people fixing their individual homes. But let me call on NADMO as a matter of urgency to come in and assist the people of Kalba. All right, so I think this call has been made over 2 weeks ago, and we need to find out, what's going on here, what's happening, because nothing seems to have changed for 2 weeks. So,
And really, at this point, I don't envy NADMO at all.
Yeah.
Because it looks like we have been hit with disasters, from all
Left, right,
over
center,
the place.
yeah.
Now, how well resourced is NADMO itself, to deal with such emergencies, So these are, for me, I think that we really need to prep ourselves properly as a nation to deal with some of these things. What are contingency measures? If things like this happen, then what happens? Can we afford? Because now disasters are coming and they are quite huge. So can we actually, deal with some of these things? How quick will responses be like? And I think that these are genuine issues that we really need to start paying attention to.
Yeah. So we have the Chief Physician Assistant of the Center, Mr. George Sobite, on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
All right. So it's been almost 2 weeks now since this incident happened in Kalba. What's the current situation on the ground?
Yeah, the situation on the ground is still the same as the day the incident occurred. Why am I saying so? Because the facility that has been restored is still standing like that, and we don't have a place that we would fit to operate and at least give privacy. Currently, we do consultation to emergency cases that come under a tree, and that is not good enough.
Wow. Now, what is the health directorate in your district saying about the situation?
Yeah, the district directly is not comfortable with the situation, but because he too has not got his office hasn't got that strength to quickly come in to intervene, but he is doing well, trying to collaborate with the member of parliament to see if there will be a way out.
No, but Mr. Sobite, has this matter not been escalated to the national level? I think the Ghana Health Service should be in on top of this matter.
Yeah, the Ghana Health Service can be, but the facility is not directly under them because it's a charter facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who are those who are responsible ultimately?
Yeah, it's the Catholic Diocese of Damongo.
Okay.
That is in charge of that, and then they too are also restless about the situation. Yesterday, I had some interaction with the bishop. He is not comfortable with this, and they are not resting at all, trying to appeal to people to come in to support. But the fact is that the support is not coming as we are expecting.
No, but okay. So, I guess you are at your wit's end when it comes to doing something about this, because I'm wondering, you know, in this kind of situation, why would the church be calling for support? Is there no way of, as an emergency, because the roof came off, can we not have some kind of a temporary covering for the place? Can we not remove debris from the place, you know, and make the place somehow semi-functional without necessarily waiting for extra funds to come in? I mean, I'm wondering what's going on here.
Yeah, that is the point. But the debris matter, the community people have been able to ask when the director for health in charge of the diocese and then the development coordinator came. We interacted with the community and the chief. So they mobilized to go to remove the debris. Then for the maternity block that was affected, that one we have been able to repair that one for the pregnant women through that because of their nature. So we have to make that temporary thing to be attending to them. But
Okay.
for the general side, we don't have a place to operate.
I see. All right. Well, I do hope you get some help really soon, and and some respite for the members of the various communities that attend to that facility. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sobite, for speaking to us.
No, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity on your platform.
All right. So
but we appeal to you as a media to continue taking this matter up to make it a serious matter, because that place is in the deprived area, far away from town, because it is 75 kilometers away from the district capital where the hospital is situated. And we are in the deprived area where we serve a larger population. We serve 65 communities with 40,000 people. And this people is not only just coming from the district, Kalba district, Savannah region, but it is an international community, a facility, health facility, because we share border with Burkina Faso, and that is where the other services, and La Côte d'Ivoire. Then also Wa West district, they also come there for services. So I think this facility, and it has been in existence for 42 years today. So we are also appealing to you to use your platform to get to people that are in support, so that they come to our aid.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sobite. They are watching us as we speak, and so we know that there will be some response to their plight. All right. So from a facility that is 42 years old, serves 65 communities, not only in Ghana, but in 2 other countries, Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast.
And this facility belongs to the church,
the Catholic
right?
diocese. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm looking at private sector involvement in solving some of our problems. Now, how are they being met?
Yeah.
You know, because if we leave things on their shoulders alone, they can just one day also get up and say that, look, enough is enough. We are trying to help the community. We are trying to help the nation. And if it's becoming too overbearing, then we just leave it and attend to other matters.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean,
so I think that, well, I don't know what government's involvement is in this, but if there's anything like that, or if there isn't anything like that, then I think that is the time for government and the church to come together and find a lasting solution, or some kind of temporary measure to just deal with some of these problems.
So I'm looking at it in this way. Christian Health Association of Ghana, right? They run a number of hospitals, and health facilities in the country.
Yeah.
But it is an augmentation to what Ministry of Health is supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
Do you see? It's not their duty.
Not their responsibility, kind of.
So they are helping government.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, for me, I think we are looking at government and say, what are you going to do? Because here's a situation where
that's not to say that private people shouldn't get involved. If the church has the money, to quickly do something about it, please step in and help, because we know the situation. This is where we are. Ghana doesn't really have that much money, to be dealing with things that we've not planned for, and so if the church can still come in immediately to do something, let's do it. But moving on, I think that there should be that proper collaboration, and I still stand by what I believe in, that look, let's start planning and have measures in place to deal with emergencies.
All right. Well, Breakfast Daily is going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We will be back.
You're welcome back. So from one disaster to the other, or to another, we are now going from the Kalba, areas,
district,
all the way to Takoradi. So on Monday, we brought you a report, that a temporary market, that had to be set up just to give way for the reconstruction of the main Takoradi market, caught fire, and the facility was razed down. Now, days after that, what has happened? Do we have a way of making sure that these traders are back to business? Are we trying to put the whole market back to use? What exactly is the situation? Let's take a look at the report, that Western Regional Correspondent Akwesi J. Enim put together on Monday regarding the fire incident, and then we'll come back and talk to him on what the update is now.
8:30. You better Hanolish. You be not from the Halation to Mubu Ade. No man Conma, you but no was the castle so. When your baby far, what widen, where do me jam? That's how I should do Sangasa. Master what I'm a line or do. Tapping in the master. But I want to go on or appetite. No, I should paternally put the island them a Kalba. Even Cal can put the island them. Say, one of the man in Kajanon Daldam. But I couldn't be island them a car from my baby. What's one man coming in room? But I couldn't be island them a car. What to wear room? No one from the way they would be just someone. One train put my car when me alley upon the chow. But on your main street, not the car, or the main street or the car for markets. Back to the root. The roof. Most of our people a cool with each other and a cool now, and different type of apple. Sinina, my chiwa doing for the young waste. A chiwa man coming for once I wonder when yash. Anyone will inside me ash. This I ash a woman. Oh, for now, young for now. One way, Sapphire service, we are able to be the cana, but I yash.
Well, I'm a demon, turn out, but me uncle, Gina, our police station executive. Now, around 2:30, no call him, or comes I. About some Gina from the time. Now, corner Sunday, it's gone by the minute, meeting or taking party, may wo for Kalba from for come dinner, but also party most all a show. Now, I'm picking when you feel your bed, your banner, Janet, or Yasan Kakana. Jad de me panty. Mekada men primo ragwani nto adaka kwemo ro Mr. Nodina member embeja nti mo gina nche na manga sa me friend nkofo na me friend brother akwa friend Mr. Sebobie na me friend na no so be na me kacha Mr. Sebe on oye former police officer nti on mpran nkofo na wonrem no chada no store code wa aso kra bata code na woguda wodum jani nti fridge ka se oye coaster Wotumi yi nam no wa fridge ni go outside. Na yetumi twetwe fridge ni bi supoi outside. And then once what I bring tea, my hu yin.
Ni cha oba ha be ya betel.
But around 2:30. But if fire service why ejuma ankasa. Because mo se gwa no car kwan ni nyara no. What did you message car kwan ni mu no? Be pia ni wa the cars.
All right, so that's a reminder of what happened on Monday. But our colleague who filed the report, Akwesi Ejenim, is on the line with us. Akwesi, good morning.
Good morning, David.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Okay, so Akwesi, when you filed the report initially, it was too early to know the cause of the fire. Do we now know what caused that fire?
Well, I would say for the cause of it, we still don't know, except that we picked some few, behind the scenes information. The investigative team are yet to make their findings public.
Okay.
But the little information we picked up is that it was triggered by a shop here that was actually operating some kind of chop bar.
Okay.
And that is where it actually triggered. She was using gas stove. But this is still unconfirmed because we're still waiting for the official investigative report. Okay. But in terms of, the cost, so far the cost they've actually given to the items lost. According to the Metro NADMO officer, it is around 1.5 million Ghana cedis. And according to the NADMO, 258 stores were burned in the fire. And as we speak, nothing much has changed, except that we have some of the shop owners who have come around trying to recover, go through the debris to see what they can actually rescue. So that is what is happening. We have several of them around, looking around to see what they can actually take from this. According to the NADMO, from today they will start to remove the debris, and it's going to take them about 3 days to do that. But since the first day after the fire was put off, and now nothing much has actually changed over here. The situation. Look, we still have, some, spots of, smoke coming from the debris, and we have the market just, going around. But about 80% of the market is now operational, except for the portion that was affected. So trading is going on, in the other parts of the market.
So you said about 250 shops were affected.
258.
258 shops were affected. Okay, so, but that sounds like quite a large number. So if you say about 80% of the market is still operational, how many shops were in the market in total?
Well, according to the Sub-Metro Coordinating Director, on the day of the incident, he told me that 5,000 people were admitted here. And these 5,000 people are all behind some kind of shop or a structure that they are trading here. So that will give you an idea of, because we have a chunk of populace over here who are not necessarily operating from a store or kiosk or a container.
Okay.
They are operating on mini tables, demarcated along the many stretch of, lanes we have here. So that actually raises the number of, people operating over here. So if you are talking about actual stores, it has to run in thousands, but there's that number I'm here to actually put my finger on. But I can say, if you look at the architecture of the structure of the market, it is sort of divided into four, and it is one of the four, and about 30% of one of the four quarters that actually got affected. So, you can say about 80%. kind of got affected.
You're saying also that the debris, they're going to start moving the debris today. Is that right?
This is what the NADMO is saying. That,
okay.
By close of day, they'll start removing the debris.
Okay, so I'm wondering what's keeping them because the fire was put out on Monday, wasn't it?
Yes, it's so. But as we speak, we still also have, I've seen some 3 fire officers who are also still around. We still have some smoke, coming out. So that the suspicion is that maybe we still have some fire still beneath the rubble. So maybe they want to allow these things to cool down before they come removing the debris.
Okay, I'm not sure if I understand exactly what's going on here, because to me it seems that if there's still smoldering, embers and all that, the fire service has not completed their work. So why has the fire service left the site if there's still over 48 hours, there's still smoldering embers, and which is delaying NADMO's work of clearing the debris?
I wouldn't say that is exactly the reason for which maybe the NADMO hasn't actually started to remove the debris. But as I said, I've seen about 3 fire officers also at the site here going around. Maybe they are just doing observations to see what they have to do. But as we speak, we don't have any removal of debris taking place.
Now, in terms of the authorities who are concerned, the assembly and so on, are there any conversations about restoring the market place, those who have lost things, compensation for people who are in the market? Has there been any of these discussions going on?
Compensation, no. Nobody has actually mentioned it so far. But what we have heard on record by the Western Examiner Minister, Kalba, who is also the MP for Chakra, on the first day of the incident, he came here and mentioned that reconstruction of the place is going to start within a week.
Okay.
And so that one has been said. But as to where the funding is going to come from, where they are going to get the money to put up these stores, most of the stores were actually put up by the individual shop owners.
Okay.
They gave them the space and they came to put on their stores. And these are on the container section of the market. So you could hear some of the market women complaining that even the money that they spend putting up these containers and stores, they haven't finished paying for it.
Yeah.
This morning, the request they are making is that if there's going to be some kind of compensation, they want the money to come to them directly. They don't want any intermediary where at the end of the day there will be stories about monies not reaching them. So that is the call they are making. They are calling for help for the things that they've lost. And so that is the concern over here.
Okay, Akwesi, there's something that has just caught my attention in what you're saying. I'm not sure if that's a sort of standard practice or it was just a way to accommodate the current situation as far as the temporary market space was concerned. But you said a number of people have put up their own containers. I thought the idea was for the assembly or the region to take care, because they're doing a reconstruction of the Takrade market. They're going to actually make a place available to the people for them to function. But here's a case where individuals are setting up their own containers.
Yes, David, what happened with this temporary market is that when the time came for them to find a place for the reconstruction of the market circle, they found this old quarters of railways and police apportioned railway quarters where the assembly took over. So this area happened to be quarters for Ghana Port and Harbour, and even some of the officials of STMA, they had their quarters here. So what they did is that the individual houses that were here, they did not put them down. They renovated some of them and converted them into shops. But the spaces around those quarters, they demarcated it for people who didn't get stores in the structures that they converted, in the buildings that they converted into stores. And so if you want to come over, you are stated a place and then bring your container to put on it. And so these individuals, market traders, actually put up all the stuff that have been done today. Again, the lanes, the big lanes, across the market were also demarcated for other markets, for other traders to also bring their stock, their tables to months over there. So the shops that were actually treated by the assembly were the converted quarters buildings into stores. But the rest, a chunk of the operators over here had to put up their own buildings and their own stores.
Yeah. So, Akwesi, we are looking at footage from earlier this morning, looking at the current situation at the market, looking at, and as you said, we can see smoke from some embers, apparently indicating that not all the fires are fully out, but at least there's no raging fire, so it seems like it's pretty much done. But it's quite a bit of a mess with burnt containers and all of that we are looking at. A lot of debris in the place there. I don't know. I mean, how soon is NADMO or whoever it is that's going to jump into this? Because the market is pretty much, this area of the market cannot be functional.
Yes, I mean, if you look at where it's been bent, it's just a structure that separates the bent area from the main lane that we still have trading going on.
Yes, yes.
And so you see they put, I mean, a barricade stopping people from coming in, but these people have breached it and they are here because they want to actually know what has happened to their stock. And so nobody is actually stopping them at the moment from coming in, and so they have come in trying to retrieve things that they were using to operate over here. Some are carrying sacks of, I mean, things, I mean, that rice that haven't actually been, and that is what is actually happening here.
But it seems to me that because much of the market is functional, it's very likely that this part that is messed up will be ignored for a while.
It looks so, but for now, I think we'll just hope that the regional minister will keep, I mean, to his promise he made on the first day that he's going to get this place reconstructed within a week. And we don't know whether this time around the assembly, together with the regional population council, would find some money to actually reconstruct this. But that also brings to bear the issue of insurance. The question is, were these women having insurance? Did the assembly or the city authorities insist on all these stores having insurance so that in case of, I mean, such, I mean, disasters, I mean, the insurance companies can actually take over? Yeah. And that is a question that is yet to actually be answered.
Akwesi, we want to take a quick look at the conversation with one of the traders this morning, and then we'll continue a conversation with you, so if you can stay on the line. So let's take a look at this.
I didn't know you were having a say what I say.
Unfortunately, first bags. No, man, so Pamadoa. Nina, they are finding more kumpo.
This is an Edena Mumoye, Dabenia, I can't remember.
Unfortunately, I try to your names. I try to well, I try to use into your champagne for one because more bacano. I know what my sister here trying.
From say,
but your family.
So that is a trader there, you know. So according to her, she sells second-hand bags, and her mother also does some sewing in that shop. But you could tell that everything has been burnt down. They could pick nothing from that shop. But Anim is still with us. From your communication with authorities, when exactly will the Takoradi main market be ready?
The construction schedule is that it's going to be completed in 3 years' time. You know, it started last quarter, last November. No, so last May, that is when the reconstruction started. So we calculated 3 months, 3 years away from last May for that place to be ready. And so this temporary place is going to be, you know, operating as a market, the main market for Takoradi until that place be ready. Not all the people at the Takoradi Market Circle actually came to the temporary market. Some were actually sent to the Takoradi Jubilee Park. Some were also sent to some small spots close to the market circle around the place they call Women's World Bank. And that is just those who are then close. They are there, but the chunk of them actually came to this temporary market. I'm told about 70% of them came here. So this is where all the major trading actually takes place. Yeah.
Right. So then it means that looking at the timelines, this temporary market has to be redone.
Definitely, it has to be done. I mean, for business activities. I mean, that should take place to actually take place here.
Right. Thank you very much, Anim. So this is it. No, I wanted to know, how soon we're going to have the main market, to see, because now the temporary market
is becoming a main market.
No, it has become a main market, and now we need a temporary market out of the temporary market, because we still have a little over 2 years to go. And it means that this needs to be fixed, because if you have majority of the traders coming from the main market coming here, it means that we still need to fix this. Now, looking at what money.
But you say we have a little over 2 years to go. But that's assuming that they finish on time.
No, I'm just giving the authorities the benefit of the doubt. That yes, it's going to be 3 years. But even with that 3 years, this is the situation. It means that we have some 2 years or more to go, and so this temporary market has to be refixed.
Yeah. I think that in the midst of everything else, one of the things that I want to call out for is that the fact that it's temporary doesn't mean that it should be treated any less important.
Of course.
Than you would treat a main permanent market space, because here we have a fire situation. It doesn't mean we know fires that have happened in main markets, right? But I'm just saying that, look, let's go down to the grassroots and make sure that everybody in the market, it shouldn't be an ad hoc thing, always trying to do firefighting, chasing after the problem. But can we not have any more market fires? Do what we have to do.
David, so I am just hoping that we will take cues from these occurrences, because we wouldn't want to have the main market and then just months down the line, there's a fire outbreak. And then we come back with fire service telling us that we couldn't get proper access to the market, we couldn't do this. And we have traders on pavements, we have people on driveways, applying their trade. So I am even just hoping that, okay, if we just have to look at this on temporary basis, fine. But what lessons are we picking from what is happening, just to make sure that the permanent, market that we are going to be having would not experience some of these challenges? Because as for the fires, they would come. But my concern is, how do we deal with them promptly? Because once we are human beings working, the way sometimes we can be, our behaviors, our attitude as a people, you still have people use open fires, you still have people try to be smart, cheat the system with illegal connection and stuff like that. How do we prevent these? Right, but in case they happen, what happens? So we build markets, nobody goes to check connections, or even if we do, it's once a while. So people get away with not paying bills, which affects revenue generation for these service outlets. How do people deal with fire in such? People have gas cylinders, people have irons, people are cooking, people are doing this. Do we have any kind of regulation just to say that if you are in the market, you can do this, you can't do that? Now, if all these regulations are also put in place, who is coming back to check what? Is it just an issue of, okay, we've told them, nobody came back?
And we go by with tickets to collect daily revenue. Meanwhile, we don't check anything else.
Nobody cares about what is exactly happening, just to prevent such disasters. And if the disasters occur, what is our response like? How prompt can we deal with some of these issues? So, I really hope that we are taking lessons from all that is going on.
Well, I hope we are taking lessons from all that is going on. Well, that's we're going to take a short break again. Don't go anywhere. There's more that's coming up on Breakfast Daily. We'll be right here waiting for you after the break.